Hey up troops, welcome back to the Litanah army. I'm Lit and this is Fortnite Save the World. And what I wanted to do today is something a little bit different because I want to talk about when this game is going to go free to play. So when is Fortnite Save the World going free to play? And do you know, there's a lot of speculation about that. Everyone's kind of held on, and I think it's now by a thread to the thought of 2018. But I've got doubts about this on whether it can be released in 2018 given its current state. I've actually just come back from watching Checker's video on this one, and he said that there's three main things that need to be finished off or kind of polished up, if you like, before this game can be released. But they're quite big things, and I'll tell you how that impacts in a second. So first off, the story in Canny Valley and Twine is not finished. So where you get a really good story, especially in Stonewood, and then you move into Plankerton and you get this kind of side story that goes with all the missions, and it kind of all ties in together. I mean, it's not the most brilliant of stories. I was going to say epic stories then, but it's not the most brilliant of stories, although it does make the game a little bit more palatable in that sense, and it's quite nice to just work through and kind of feel like you're achieving something along the way, like you're doing something for the greater good, and you really do feel, you know, like you're one of these few survivors and you're kind of pulling it all together, and it just kind of makes the game really, really great. At the minute, when you get to Canny and Twine, you just get a list of missions. Well, you don't even get a list, you just get the next mission that you're going to do, and you just kind of have to work through those. There's not even any sort of indicator telling you where you are, how close you are to getting to the next area. You know, so when you're in Canny, really, you have to go online. I use White Sushi's guide, which is linked down below, on the missions tab, just to let me know, you know, how far through Canny Valley I am right now. And it's kind of annoying in a way, you know, the fact that that's not implemented into the game. Another thing that they need to look at as well is the areas. The areas don't match up. So when you get to Canny Valley, the actual base area looks great. You know, the base area looks fantastic. The issue is, though, the rest of the areas, when you're doing the actual missions, are exactly the same at everything what you've done before. The same ones that you've done in Stonewood, the same ones that you've done in Plankerton, and you know what? They're going to be the same in Canny and Twine as well. So the base area that when you're doing your Storm Shield defenses is absolutely fantastic. You know, that looks great, but the rest of the area doesn't match up yet, so the biomes definitely need to match up there. And the third thing that Checker pointed out on there as well was trading and scamming needs to definitely be looked at before, you know, they can actually release this properly, because at the minute it's a bit messy. Personally, I mean, I did a video on this. I don't really trade. I don't see the point of it. You know, any weapon that you want, you can kind of craft it yourself, and part of the game is playing through the missions to earn that. You know, a bit like Borderlands, where you're building up your weapons and you're building up your arsenal, you know, to what you've actually got. There's not, you know, that's kind of the fun element of the game for me, but I know that's not for everybody. Some people just want, you know, the tiger really quickly, or, you know, they want a Nocturno or things like that. But, you know, if that's what you want to do, then you are going to open yourself up to scams a little bit. But another issue that you've got there as well is account hacks as well is still becoming a thing. You only have to go on Reddit to see how many people have got V-Bucks hacked, or how many people have had the cards used, you know, through Epic Games' systems and things like that. So before this part of the game goes full release, you know, Checker's absolutely right. Those three things need to be looked at. So let's look at the grand scheme of things then. So Epic have got a huge job to do here before release. So the biomes need to match up. You know, that's an essential, I think, to make the game kind of flow properly. While we're talking about flowing storage, you know, you also need to finish off the stories for Canny Valley and Twine. If they release it in 2018, I think they're going to release it without the story, because it doesn't seem like we've got any sort of inkling of anything happening in those areas. I mean, we've had nothing on Reddit. We've had no post to say things are on the way. You know, the dev vlogs have been very vague about it. You know, they've said that they're working on it, but we've seen absolutely nothing so far. So that doesn't mean they're not doing anything, but it just tells me that they're way down the line, you know, and they've got other more pressing matters, which is understandable. You know, they've got Battle Royale, and they've got to keep the fans happy with Save the World as well. I mean, even with a big, well-established team, that's going to be tough. So if you're going to keep the fans happy, you know, with regular events, heroes, and items, you know, it's going to take a lot of resources and a lot of time and a really, really big team. And I think I think 2018 is pushing the boundaries a little bit. Personally, I can't see this game. I'm a regular player of Fortnite Save the World, and I can't see this game being released properly, at least in 2018. If they do release it, you know, then hey ho, you know, then kudos to them, I guess. But you know, they are going to be releasing what is ultimately, you know, an unfinished game. Now, that's quite common in the gaming industry. We all know that. We've all played games where, you know, they've not quite been finished or they've needed a lot more work on them, and then the polishes come later on. You know, a classic example that I can think of would be something like World of Warcraft. You know, when I played Vanilla WoW, the game wasn't anything like it is now. It wasn't the Colossus that it became. I know it's dying off a little now, but, well, a little's a bit of an exaggeration, but I know that's a game that's died off now. But, you know, at the time, you know, when you first played it, you'd never would have thought that game would have gone on to achieve what it achieved. And it was, you know, this game's kind of got that kind of core. It's got that little thing that keeps bringing you back all the time, that keeps making you want to play the game. But there are some big things that need to change in there. Now, you know, I wouldn't mind if we waited till 2019 or even halfway through 2019 for this to go free, as long as they can keep the people interested, which so far I think they're doing a decent job of. You know, but I'd like to see some real end game in this game. So I'm like, something like, I know we've just referenced World of Warcraft earlier, but something like big boss fights, maybe bigger squads where you get 8 people in, or, you know, maybe something where you just have the 4, but the boss is huge, or you have to locate the boss, or something like that, or you got a timer and you've got to find him. There's so many different things you could do. And if you remember, again, in World of Warcraft, a lot of the stories that were around there, like when you did Naxxramas, or when you did some of the other ones like the Molten Core, they had little stories involved in them as well. Now, again, that's a massive ask given what they've already got on the plate already, but, you know, that would make the game really, really satisfying. Another thing that I thought, another unique thing that they could do in there, is put in player missions where every player's got to execute an individual task, and all have got to succeed in their individual task to make it work. So if you think kind of like the heists were in GTA, so the GTA 5 heists that they brought out, which I really wish that they would have, you know, developed on that and made a lot more of those. But, you know, something like that in this would be absolutely fantastic, and it would really fit the genre and the play style of the actual game as it stands right now. So, guys, just to summarize then, ultimately, 2018, there's 2 ways this can go. If I'm honest, I don't think this is going to come out in 2018. I don't think it's going to be free to play in 2018. I would love to be wrong, so if I am eating my words, you know, by the end of the year, then absolutely fantastic. That is great news. The only problem I've got with that is the game's going to be unfinished, so it's going to be, I'm not going to say unpolished. You know, Fortnite Save the World is actually quite a highly polished game. That's kind of its issue. You know, they kind of want every detail to be right, and I think that's what they're waiting on. But knowing Epic Games, like I think I know Epic Games, I think they're going to wait for that polish to finish, especially now that they've got the reputation and they're making a ton of money off Fortnite Battle Royale. I think that the focus, you know, even though I do think they're working hard on this, I think the focus is going to be hard to actually pinpoint for them, and they've got a huge amount to actually work through and get through before this goes free to play. They've got to get rid of, you know, they've got to sort out the scamming, the trading, and also their back-end, you know, their back-end systems when it comes to, you know, hacking accounts and things like that. Also as well, you know, we've got an issue at the minute in Fortnite Save the World with people going AFK. So 4 people jump into a mission and then 1 person just stands there. A lot of time they'll just put a keybind on there where they just like run in a circle, or they just run up and down, and they don't contribute towards the mission at all. So certainly in the lower end missions, you know, people just drop in and they just kind of wait. They just kind of stand there, run around in circles. I found it to be worse personally for me towards the end of Plankerton. So when I got to the final missions in Plankerton, it was like 2 or 3 people every single mission were just AFKing. So they came into the mission, they wanted the rewards from it, they just couldn't be bothered to grind anymore, so they'd kind of just stopped. So they'd log into the mission, run around in a circle, and there's nothing you can do about it other than leave the mission yourself and come back in. But the thing you were finding is there was just more and more of the same. So that's something that I'd like to see Epic Games address before this game comes out to be full release. Okay then, guys, so we'll leave it there for now, as I said. So I'd love to hear your comments down below on what you think, you know, whether you think Save the World's going to be free or not. Maybe you've heard some sort of rumor, maybe you've read something on Reddit that I've missed, maybe another YouTuber's put something out that I've not seen. You know, let me know in the comments down below, or basically, you know, just give me your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, guys, and you want to talk more about this, make sure you drop me a like down below. I'd love to see that. And also, if you're not part of the Litanah army already, drop me a subscribe, and I'd love to see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching this, guys.